Welcome back to the Freaking Awesome Podcast, and this is episode 50.
Yeah, man. Let's kill that bass head. Alright, let's do this. I'm on the air, we got this pockets flow. It's me and Tony on the mics, we gotta let you know of current events, little gaming, sprinkling some entertainment. We stay humble, but our moms still think we're famous. Turn up the bass and baby, maybe let that magic flow. Our spoken word is all the things you really wanna know. Having a good time on the show, T-Bows and Matty G. Tune in and hit subscribe and join us on the FAP.
Welcome, everybody, to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I am your host, Anthony Bowes, and unfortunately, my co-host, Matty G, cannot make it today, but we have a very special celebrity guest host today. His name is Joe Finfera. You may know him as many of the soap opera kind of heartthrob walk-on extras. He's played in many things such as Guiding Light and... oh boy, I always get these soap operas all mixed up, but I think there was...
I can help you.
Hey, perfect. That's great. As a co-host, you get to come in. So
I can come in and help you. I've walked in and did some walk-on roles on One Life to Live, Guiding Light, General Hospital.
Yep.
Let's see. Let me see. Guys, it's been so many years. I've done so many of these things.
I know.
But One Life to Live, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, and Young and the Restless.
Yes.
And did I say General Hospital? I did.
Yeah,
yes.
and one of the most unique things, and it's actually really funny because we never have a guest come in and help out with their intro. This is actually really fun for me. But I gotta say, there was something I think I remember seeing in one of your biographies that you also you kind of started off in the bodybuilding career. I
did. I started off in the fitness industry, and that's actually how I was able to get my first kind of gigs on soap operas. I used that to propel me to get into on One Life to Live.
Okay.
I did a lot of different. I did a lot. They're always looking for these. There's these. A lot of the soap operas had back in, I guess, it was the '90s. They had these kind of unique scenes, and back then they were working on this. It's like a scene where they had these. I hate to even say it 'cause it's embarrassing, but these like Egyptian like love slaves.
Okay, yeah.
And they bring me in to play these roles.
Wow.
And it was how I got in so fast. And for me, I used it as a marketing thing to get in because, there's so many people that are trying to get a part on the show. Mm-hmm. So I figured this would be a good way to kind of use a kind of a marketing thing. And I do marketing now. I'm pretty good at thinking about how can I get somebody's attention. So I used the bodybuilding stuff as a way to grab attention.
Yeah.
And it segued in. But it gets a little bit dangerous because then you get typecast as just that. And they don't realize that, hey, wait a minute, I have a degree, I have an education, and I can do more things than just do that. So
than just be
I was always
face.
also fighting. That exactly, just for the build. So, God, I remember doing an episode, and I was going to the wardrobe department, and they said, "Okay, well, the next time we need a body, I'll call you." That bothered me so bad,
right?
That
just feel like a hunk of meat.
It really did. It did, and you just and it's not just for it's for both men and women to hear that.
Yeah.
And I thought I can't blame anybody because that's how I marketed myself. So I had to. I fought and finally I got a part. I ended up getting a part on Guiding Light, and I had to wear a suit. And I was so happy I got to wear a suit,
fully covered.
To play this part. Yeah, to play this part, and they gave me my first time I had a character name on it was a Guiding Light, and they gave me a character name. I got to wear a suit, so I was so happy. And then I later found out that the part was originally supposed to be at a swimming pool, and so my character. So if it had originally been written with the suit, they probably wouldn't have cast me. But they cast me more because so it was supposed to be by a swimming pool, And thank God they kept me, even though they switched the location it was going to be. Anyway,
you get all excited because of the suit, and then you're like, okay, so we're going to be in the swimming pool. You're like, ah.
That's right, exactly. But I was lucky. I was lucky that I put my energy towards. I mean, literally, I do believe in the power of thought and positive thinking. And I guess because I was thinking it so much, the odd thing, I remember them saying it was supposed to be by a pool, and they changed it to that it was going to be like a nightclub, and you had to wear suits. So I was happy. Oh. And it was like a dance number, and the dance number was actually the dance choreographer was the fellow from Laverne and Shirley, the guy that played the Big Ragu.
Okay.
Carmen from Laverne and Shirley for all the older listeners. So he is a choreographer. So definitely a cool day.
Yeah. That's really funny. It wasn't, and this could be urban myth. I'm not 100% sure. But wasn't the one or the two of the guys off Laverne and Shirley the guys who went on to be Spinal Tap?
Yes, that's right. They sure were.
Yeah.
They were, because I remember I went to I got invited in here. I was out here in California then, and Spinal Tap had this like reunion thing, and I recognized the one guy from Laverne and Shirley. That was Lenny. I think it was Lenny.
Yes,
was the one I really recognized. And but that fella, he also. He's a really versed guy, because he's also was on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he was.
Wow.
We should look up his name, because that's not fair talking about a fella and not really giving his name. So I'm going to look it up right now.
Sounds
look
good.
It up right now as we speak.
We owe him homage to this.
we do owe him homage. It's not fair.
Yeah.
And and he's such a cool. He's been around for so long. Such a cool dude. Let's see. Let's get his name here. And his character was. Let's see here. Oh, and Eddie Mecca was Carmine, the guy who I was speaking of, and then Lenny was played by Michael McCain. Michael McCain, who was in Spinal Tap, I believe.
Yeah. Wow.
And yes, when you go on his IMDb, you can see it. He was in Spinal Tap. I remember seeing him. So yes.
Wow.
So yeah.
So it wasn't urban myth. I was actually right. Oh, that's good for me on my memory.
It's not an urban myth. It is true.
Yep.
And he is such a versatile guy. He's been in a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of people like that. There's so many things out there. It's like there's a lot of actors like that. They've been in so many things, and you just don't. Then you go, oh, really? Because obviously you're playing a character, so you're not always going to look like yourself.
That's right. That's right.
Especially if you're in Spinal Tap.
Yeah, exactly. They were a little wild and crazy. Yeah, they had the over the top end of things. So, I mean, you are also, you're a perfect example of one of those people, because you have been in so many different roles, and especially for a lot of like what I like to say is like you're kind of like the mom crush, right? Because you're the guy that crosses all these soap opera shows, and as a good looking guy, right? Then people are like, oh, I know that guy. Where do I know that guy from? And, and then when you end up hitting, a lot of your other movies or shows, people are like, why does this guy look so familiar? And it's always really funny, because, I think it was my co-host, Matty G. We had another, Sean Cannon on, who was also on a lot of these, soap operas. Yeah. Oh, do you? And he was a Karate Kid too. Karate Kid 3. Yeah. He was, the kind of the villain, as much as you can say the villain, not the main villain, but the kind of the underling villain, but the main kid who was fighting Daniel. And Matty G had admitted that he was actually a huge soap opera fan at one point. So I learned a little bit more of my co-host at that point.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
So
I kind of was. I dated when I was in my last years of college. The young lady who I was dating, she was in a soap opera, so I had to sit and watch them. I learned about them from sitting and watching the shows.
Oh, wow. Another way of getting in, right? You had the look, you already had the experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It was before I had the experience, but I had to watch, because I wasn't a fan. I was forced into it, because if I wanted to spend time with my girlfriend at the time, I had to watch these soap operas.
Yep. Yeah.
So, your guy has to do what he's got to do.
Yeah. Plus, if you're in certain relationships, it's a soap opera on its own. So then you have real life experience.
Right. Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That's true. But back to what you're saying, I do have. It is interesting because I do have people go and say, "You look familiar. I've seen you someplace," and I just chalk it off to I'm a familiar looking person.
Yeah.
But there could be, and it just could be though too, because we all have like a twin somewhere, so it could be from an episode they saw or whatever, or it may not be, but there's, like on a recent note, I did have somebody recognize me from an episode I did on General Hospital.
Okay.
General Hospital has a good fan base, and I did that relatively recently, and so someone did recognize me from that, and I get, because I'm not like known, like not hugely known. I'm very flattered. I'm still at that point. I get very flattered.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking
of flattery, I couldn't help but
yes.
come across the August 2016 cover of you on a calendar with a motorcycle.
Thank you.
looking
you.
good.
I was 30. I was like in my late 30s, and I still work out and I'm in shape. But I was really happy to get a calendar at an older age. Yeah. And it was exciting. And everybody was so much younger than me. But it was nice to be able to do it at 36. I'm 51 now, and no one's banging down my door to do that. But it would be nice to get a bunch of 50-year-olds and all of us to say, you know what, hell of it, let's get
start a
in
new
good shape again and do another one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Why
Let's be honest, there's a total market out there for that. You'd have no problem selling those calendars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. You have no problem selling them. And sometimes I want to do it and donate the money to charity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what a great cause. But, everybody has to be over 50.
Yeah.
And be over 50 stuff because, you go into the gym nowadays, and a lot of people, fitness is a big thing. It's not about being huge. It's just about being in shape.
Yes.
And I think we're more health conscious nowadays too. So you're going to find there are a lot of people that are in their 50s that are in really, really good shape.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely say in that
thank
image,
you for finding the count.
Yeah. I mean, in that image, you kind of look like a young Hugh Jackman there. So, for all the ladies out there listening, who are of course huge Hugh Jackman fans, you got to go and check out Joe's 2006 calendar. That's right.
Impressive. It's on.
Actually,
I did put it on IMDb.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
IMDb. It's on IMDb.
Yep.
It's on IMDb. So if you want to go,
perfect.
FINFERA, you can find it. But wow, thank you for finding
good.
That's great.
That's fun. Excellent.
That.
So we're doing things a little out of order, and that's totally fine because this it's always great when we have a guest co-host. So let's continue talking about a little bit of your history here before we jump over to the weird and wonderful news articles we have from around the world. I wanted to ask you about so you've done a just recently, or I shouldn't say recently, I guess it was a few years back, but the Opiate Diaries, which I believe was that an Amazon or a Netflix? No, it was Amazon, I think, wasn't it?
That's on Amazon.
Yes,
that's on Amazon right now.
Yeah,
Amazon Prime.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So now, how do you find? Like, did you find that there's any difference in like the direction procedure when you're looking at TV series versus movie versus Netflix / Amazon Prime? Is there any difference in that process, or does it all seem kind of along the same lines?
It depends. It was a lower budget, is independent, of course. So there's a little bit more freedom as far as the actor's concerned for what you bring to it.
Okay.
It's not as it's a little bit more of a looser set. When you got a more bigger budgeted thing, everything really has to be on the mark, and you may not have as much freedom.
Little less room for mistakes.
That's right, because there's more people involved in financing and things like that. Which even like today, what's going on now, and I'm only anticipating, but I think it's going to be it's harder for big budget films. I think right now they're going to have to really figure out insurance wise how can we get people back on the set.
Yeah.
Or versus if you have a smaller budget thing, you have less liability. and I think it's going to be easier for an independent to produce something right now. So that's my guess, and I'm not, I can't call myself an expert at that 'cause I'm not a producer, but it just seems to be, logically.
Mm-hmm.